This is the 864 podcast from Rob of the Green, providing you with some insights, ideas, and actionable takeaways in just 864 seconds, or 1% of your day, with the explicit goal of making you get a little better, even if it's just 1%. Here's your host, Rob O'Donoghue. Let's do this.
Hey folks, welcome to the 864 podcast. Delighted to have you along. This one is with Mike Michalowicz. He is a very well-known author, a podcast host, a columnist for the Wall Street Journal, and he's even hosted a reality TV show in the US. He's a powerhouse guest to have on so early in the 864 season, and I'm delighted to share this one with you. Do check out the last 60 seconds of the show after the chat with Mike for more info that might be of interest. Enjoy the show with Mike Michalowicz. And if you do, be sure to subscribe to the 864. Thanks so much. In this episode, I am delighted to introduce my guest, Mike Michalowicz from the US. Mike, welcome to the show.
Rob, thank you for having me.
Mike, I was looking through your bio and you have a series of books that you've written, and I was very interested and certainly looking forward to hearing a little bit about the journey of putting those together and sharing some nuggets that some of my listeners can take on board, probably more around personal finance or maybe business finance, but maybe give yourself a little bit of an introduction there rather than me spoiling it.
Sure. So I'm an author. I'm a full-time author, but also an entrepreneur. I've had the good fortune of growing and selling some companies. I've also had the bad fortune, which turns good because you learn from it, of starting about 10 companies that failed. But I also do run a couple companies today. But my full-time endeavor, where I devote my focus, is on being an author. And so I've written 5 books. Profit First is the one on business finance. That's the most popular book. But also Surge, The Pumpkin Plan. I got a brand new book called Clockwork. So that's what I do. My goal is to support small business entrepreneurs, the perceived underdogs of the world, and give them the tools to be the force of good and serving their clients.
Brilliant. And obviously, because you've written so many, they're obviously been successful, so there must be some goodness in them.
I hope so.
You would hope. I also read in your bio that we obviously don't get every American TV show over here, but you hosted a reality television program called Bailout.
Oh yeah, and that's a blast from the past. Yeah, so I've done a few shows, but there was a show called Bailout that aired very briefly here, and the show was going into businesses. I was given 24 hours to resuscitate a dying business. Okay. And so it takes extreme measures in a business like that. These were companies that were about to get the doors shuttered and locked unless something big changed. And the hook too was I wasn't giving any resources. It wasn't like I could take $1 million from someone and throw it into the business. I had to find a way to get the owner to turn it around overnight. And that was what the show was about.
And you had that 24-hour window. You're kind of on the clock there, like we're on the clock on this show, strangely enough. But yeah. What would your approach be to look at instantly? Is there certain things you always look for from a failing business that you could tackle or approach and make that quick change potentially?
So in every business, the one thing that can be changed immediately and have an immediate impact is always the mindset of the entrepreneur. And it's the most overlooked thing. We look at, I need to fix cash flow. I need more customers. I need more of this. I need more of that. But the mindset of the entrepreneur is the critical one. So one of the shows, for example, it was a business that was dying from debt. They had all this money just flowing out of the business. And the mindset shift had to be with the entrepreneurs, understanding that they're spending money unnecessarily, and they justified everything. They thought everything was appropriate. So what I did was, during the show, I had their Mercedes, the 2 Mercedes they owned, towed away, and we replaced it with an ice cream truck. And the reason it was an ice cream truck is we were able to get a free ice cream truck from a guy who owned it, who said, you can use my truck during the winter. I don't use it. And this way my truck's driving around. I get some free advertising. And so it's kind of a punch to the face of how they were spending money. And they heard from everyone and their mother, you spend too much money, you need to cut it back, for years. And they actually spent more and more. So to make a shift, you really have to change your mind, and you got to tear that Band-Aid off. You got to do something drastic in the moment so you feel the impact. And so from that day forward, their new ride was an ice cream truck. And they started to realize, wow, now I'm not spending thousands of dollars in lease payments. Where else can I cut my costs in my business? And that's how we turned them around.
Brilliant. And did you maybe, weeks and months further down the road, go back to any of those businesses that you worked with for those 24 hours and see how they've developed or grown?
Yeah, we have. And I say we, there's I go back, but there's a production company, the TV company. Sadly, a lot of businesses don't sustain the change. They get excited about it, they do it, but the challenge, and this is true, I think, for all your podcast listeners, is it is very comfortable to do the familiar, and even if the familiar is working against us. People say in relationships that are bad relationships, not because they like the bad, but it's predictable, it's familiar. And so we get very comfortable with things that are not serving us. And this is true in relationships, it's true in our finances, it's true in all elements of our lives. So the shame is, I'm given 24 hours to fix a business. I have to do something that effectively resuscitates them, gives from a financial heart attack or whatever their situation is. But it doesn't mean that they're going to stop smoking. Doesn't mean they're going to stop doing the unhealthy things in their business. Some of them just go back to the rut of the old ways. Yeah,
very, very true. I do talk about routine and habits a lot on the longer 1% Better podcast. So maybe there's a few common mistakes that people make that you can look at, and you could maybe give some tips around how they could actually make those changes sustainable.
Sure. Well, the first thing I want to talk about then is this concept of profit first. I think this is, of all the books I've written, this is the most important and the most impactful because it's such a simple change. Here's how it works. We've been told in our entrepreneurial lives, our business lives, but our home lives too, is that profit, the benefit of running a business, the benefit of working hard, comes last. We're told that profit's the bottom line, profit's the year end. And I believe all that stuff is wrong. I believe it's actually a lie, because when something comes last, the behavioral definition of something coming last means it's not important. Like if I go to the doctor's office, and the doctor says you need to focus on your health, I don't come out of the office and say, starting today, I'm going to put my health last. It's absurd. I say, starting today, I'm going to put my health first.
Sure.
So it's human nature. What comes first gets addressed. What comes last gets delayed. So what I believe with profit first is every business needs to take its profit literally first. When money comes into your business, the first thing you do is take your profit, a predetermined percentage, 10 or 15 or 20% or whatever. You then hide it from yourself and you run your business off the remainder. And that little simple, subtle change, it's not a shell game. The impact is dramatic because now you know what's truly left to run your business. You are guaranteeing profitability because you take it first. In our home lives, it's the same thing. This is the pay yourself first mentality. Take care of your future first, reserve your profits, and then run your lifestyle off the remainder, and you'll always have money available. The shame is we do the reverse. Most people spend every penny they have, and then when an emergency arises, they don't have the money to do it, or they run up debt, they don't save for the future. This little subtle change of taking our profit first has a massive impact on our business and our personal lives.
Yeah, no, it's a brilliant analogy. And I was reading again on your bio, it seems like you have kind of health analogies to some of your books, definitely with profit first. But is that something you take an approach on when you're putting a book together, that you look for some sort of analogy to align it to that people can resonate with more?
Yeah, and I think all the answers for life's challenges I think are already out there. They just need to be repackaged. The person who invented Velcro didn't invent something new. What they did is they noticed in nature that there was this plant that when you walk by it, the burrs of the plant stuck to you. And under a microscope, he saw nature's version of Velcro and just made that out of plastic and had this wildly successful new concept. Profit first is the pay yourself first principle, something that's always been taught. I wrote another book called The Pumpkin Plan, and what I did was I discovered that there is a small faction of farmers. They're in Ireland too. They grow these colossal, like massive pumpkins or different plants, and what they do is they just change the standard process, the standard growing process, just by a little. But these little small changes have a great impact on how the plant grows. Well, I found the translation to business is instead of trying to fix everything in our business, which most entrepreneurs do, address only a small select pieces of the business, and the business will respond with explosive growth. So that's my thing. I always pick analogies. I studied the surfing industry and found how the catching waves is also the same process you follow in catching the momentum in a market. So that's my book, Surge. There's always opportunities that already exist, I believe, in nature, in life itself, and can be translated into serving our business.
Oh, I like it. The Velcro example is cool. So your new book that's coming out in August, Clockwork, can you talk a little bit about what the concept is that?
Yeah. So I believe that entrepreneurs, business owners have a hierarchy similar to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where, I think the base is water and shelter. Well, I believe the base for every business is profitability. If we don't have money in our business, all of our focus becomes on desperately getting money into the business. But once that's addressed, then we go to the next level up from that, and it's recovering time. I think once we're making adequate money for ourselves, we can support our lifestyle, but then we're hungry to recapture time. I don't want to work all the time in my business. Even if I love what I do, I want to be able to experience life, spend time with family and friends, and experience the world around me. How do you recover time? So Clockwork is, how do you make the business run on automatic? How do you make the business run without any of your input, where you can do what you want to do, but the business continues to push forward and grow and generate profit for you? So the book's a study in that.
Okay, so the concept of like a passive income maybe as well that would tie into that?
Yeah. I mean, the subtitle I call it Design Your Business to Run Itself. Yes, passive income. It's really more the freedom to do what you want within your business. I mean, we started our business for two reasons. One is to support our lifestyle. Another one is for enjoyment. And many entrepreneurs are just in this grinded out mentality. It is, and sadly, it's become very popular. How hard are you hustling? How hard are you grinding? And people are working longer and longer hours. I don't think that's the solution. Yeah, we gotta work hard and we gotta pay our dues. I agree. But as our business grows, we need to redirect that business to support us, to allow us to live the lifestyle we want. So not really passive income. Passive income is where you don't do anything really, and money just generates. This is the freedom to choose what you want to do within your business.
Okay.
Albeit your choice may be, I don't want to work in my business at all. And the book provides guidance for even that level of disconnection, if you will, from the business.
Just on the book writing process, Mike, I'm fascinated about that myself. How do you approach that? And were you always a budding author?
No, I wasn't always a budding author, and I would argue it's not my natural talent. I love being an author. It's a hard effort for me to write. Clockwork took me 6 years to write.
Wow.
I hear these webinars, write a book in 30 days. I can't even write a page in 30 days. So it takes a lot of effort. Here's the one kind of key thing for anyone aspiring to be an author. Put every ounce of your knowledge into it. Every book I've written, it's everything I know. There's no hook. There's no if you don't do the next, to do the next step, you have to call me and hire me. I put everything into it. And I discovered that if you put everything into it, then people start talking about it. They said, this is the book that's the Bible in this category, and they buy it. I think the mistake some authors make is they try to make the book a sales piece for them, and those books, I believe, are destined to fail.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot, and I'm seeing a few webinars in the last while to write a book in 30 days. It's funny you should mention that. So we're down to the last minute of the show. Time flies, Mike. So I'm going to ask you to give me a random number between 1 and, say, let's go for 1 and 50, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. See what we get through in the next 30, 40 seconds.
All right, I'll pick number 5. Lucky number 5.
Number 5. Okay, what's your earliest memory?
My earliest memory, kindergarten, walking in and meeting my new classmates. 2 of those guys became my best friends for life.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, another one. Go for it.
15.
Okay. What's your biggest fear?
The passing of my children. That would devastate me. How about number 35?
What's your morning routine?
I get up, I work out for an hour, either bike riding or lifting weights, and then I eat my oatmeal, read the paper a little bit online, and then head to work.
Wonderful. Well, time is actually up, believe it or not. I'm going to be strict, even though I probably would like to go a little bit longer. Mike, thanks so much for being a guest on the 864 podcast. Maybe just before we say goodbye, is there any other shout outs you'd like to give, or how people could get in touch with you?
Sure. So yeah, Rob, thank you for having me. If people want to get all the books we talked about, you can get free downloads. I used to write for the Wall Street Journal too, and you can get you can get the articles I wrote for the Wall Street Journal. You could subscribe to the Wall Street Journal and get them, or you can get them for free on my site. Go to MikeMichalowicz.com. Here's the shortcuts. My last name is so difficult to spell, but any country, anywhere in the world, just go into Google, type in Mike, M-I-K-E, space Mick, M-I-C, it's an M-I-C, and you'll see the drop-down appear with that long Polish name. That's me. Click on that. Or if you want another shortcut, go to MikeMotorbike.com. That was my nickname in high school, Mike Motorbike. So you go to MikeMotorbike.com. That'll bring you to my site, and all that stuff is there for free.
Brilliant. I will include all of that good stuff in the notes in the podcast once I put it out, and hopefully, hopefully we get an upsurge in people checking you out from these shores. And look, thanks so much, and I hope you have a great holiday when you come to Ireland in May.
I cannot wait to visit your country. Thank you.
Just go easy on the alcohol, and
I will
keep the morning routine going, and have a great time.
Thanks, Rob.
Hey folks, so that was the 864, 864 seconds or thereabouts, and I hope you enjoyed it. Was there one key takeaway that stood out? Was it good? Was it bad? I would love to hear about it. So in the few seconds that remain, and to be fair, I've probably gone over, but I have a few asks. Please do subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or iTunes so that you never miss another show. You've heard that one before. I would love if you leave a rating and or a review. All of these help get the show further up the rankings, which means more people see the podcast and then hopefully hear it. It means a lot to me. Follow me on RoboftheGreen or on Spreaker.com/RoboftheGreen. That's where all the podcasts are hosted, but on the Rob of the Green site you can get to everything. The 1% Better podcast, this one, the 1 Minute Monday videos, and you can also connect in with me through the website. There's a feedback page, or on any of the socials. Just look for @RoboftheGreen or Rob of the Green. I think you get the picture. Finally, give yourselves a round of applause, because you've all been so lovely, and thanks for listening. Have a great day, and good luck.